Hello, and welcome to another session of Recent Thoughts, the podcast where I talk about internal feelings or general overall topics that I like to talk about. Today's topic has to do with video games. A viewer actually commented, his name is Terminite, and he would like to know my points and my thoughts about video games or what kind of genres I play. Yeah, of course I can do that. Video games have been a big part of me, my personality, and my childhood. Yes, of course I can. Right. So I have my timer ready for 15 minutes, and we'll talk about video games in 3, 2, 1, go. Right. First of all, as I already said, video games have been a huge part of me, my personality, my childhood. I was never the kid to be into sports or into anything else. I remember going to badminton contests and playing soccer, but I never really got into um, these kinds of or any kind of sport for a very long time. At least I don't remember, and I don't think I ever was. I was in a pottery club for like a month or something, but that was very, very long ago, and I don't know why. I actually don't know why, but yes. Um, my very first game actually was Sonic Generations. I played that game on I think my uncle's PS3 at that time. I didn't own a console up until I think when I was about 12 or 11. My very first console, and I remember that, was the Xbox 360. I never owned a PlayStation console up until like maybe a year ago, where I bought myself a PS4 because I wanted to play PS4 exclusive games like God of War, which then unfortunately came out for the PC, but whatever. My very first console ever was the Xbox 360, and I remember getting it I remember buying it with my dad because we went to a place where they would sell them, and we got them on sale. We got the Xbox 360 on sale along with the Kinect and the Star Wars game. I remember, if you remember that Star Wars Kinect game, that was fire. I played that game a lot, and I still do actually, from time to time. Obviously, the last time I played it was like 3 years ago or something, but it was very fun. And I remember my dad buying it for me, and all of a sudden when we walk out of the store, it actually starts raining, and it was very weird because there were no clouds, but it just randomly started raining. And so we ran into the car, and we put the Xbox 360 in the trunk as fast as possible to not get it wet right after we bought it. And then we drove home. And from that moment on, I had a gaming console. I didn't really play a lot on it. I played a bunch of like standard games. I remember playing COD on it, but not the very old CODs. I never got into Call of Duty games actually, or shooter games on the console. The first ever Call of Duty I played was in Advanced Warfare, and I mean, Advanced Warfare is still to this day a very good game, I would say. I don't know about online, but the story was very good, and I recently replayed it. It was great. So yeah, but sorry, back to my very first game, Sonic Generations, and that just blew me away. That game blew me away because for the first time ever, I could control something that I'm watching in real time. In my opinion, the most unique property of video games are that you are in control, or at least you are in control of the pacing. And it is very hard to create any kind of media where the viewer is in control, because normally you would have, I don't know, a movie where it's just the viewer watches, right? Or a book where the viewer reads, right? But never something like a game where the viewer can control what exactly is happening. And so that was an incredible thing for me. And I got into it very early in my life. Even before playing my first game, I remember going to let me think. I remember going to my uncle's, and my cousin was there, right? My cousin was there, and he introduced me, the very first time he introduced me to GTA 4. I was never in the generation that got into GTA 3. My first GTA game was GTA 5 on the Xbox 360, actually. Before all of the stuff went completely wild with GTA Online and stuff like that. Even before the lights that you would get underneath your car. I remember that explicitly when I stopped playing on the Xbox 360. I heard from some of my friends that also played video games that, oh, you can like customize your cars now, and you have like these crazy lights underneath. So that was great. Along with Sonic Generations, my very first game, also, or my second game in that case, was Need for Speed Shift. And to this day, I like racing games. I never played a lot of them, but when I played them, I had a lot of fun with it. Need for Speed Undercover, Need for Speed Shift, Need for Speed Shift 2. All of these games are very good. Undercover, I mean the old Undercover, still for the Xbox 360. I think to this day, right now, it's my favorite racing game. Um, but yeah, after that, I got into PC gaming at a very, I would say, old age in retrospective. Because I mean, the first PC game I ever played was on my dad's like huge MacBook. If you remember, the MacBooks were they were thick. And I remember playing Terraria on like 5 FPS on that MacBook. And my dad saw that I was getting into video games a lot. I started loving them. I started loving story games and games that were on the PC. So he decided to get me a PC for the first time. And it was, at the time, it was an okay PC. It had a very old processor, a very old motherboard, and stuff like that. But it was a PC. And from that time on, I started playing like crazy. Nowadays, if Terminite, you're asking about genres that I like, I think I've switched, or I think my interests have switched like never before. I played, well, I mean, my most played game is Arma, but I wouldn't count that as a game because it's more of a community event every time. But my most played game right now, as of this day, is PUBG. When PUBG got published for the first time, I was in love with the idea of a battle royale game, because before I never really had anything to play except Minecraft. And well, I mean, don't get me wrong, Minecraft is great, but I think I played it for like a couple of years, and I never got into this like crazy like Minecraft kind of rush that everyone was on at that time. Like everyone was going to like something like Mineplex, sorry, that server where you can play jump and runs, if you remember that. I did that, but I never played it for a very long time, maybe for a year or 1.5 years. On such servers, if you remember, you could rent you could rent areas of just, well, I mean, areas where you can build on, and you have to pay with like diamonds that you get from mining and stuff like that. So it's an economy system. So that kind of stuff I did, but not for a very long time. But I still have very, very warm feelings, and you know, I still remember it to this day. Something that I never got into regarding Minecraft is PvP games, Bed Wars or the Hunger Games. I never got into them, mainly because I sucked at them, and I never really had anybody to play with. I know that you get into lobbies with random people, but I never really maybe it's just me being me. I as a kid I really disliked getting my ass kicked. I disliked losing. And so what other game to play, or what are the mode, why would I play a mode where I can lose? In something like just building, I couldn't lose. The only thing I could lose is time, but not a game, right? And so I never really got into PvP games, hence I never got into shooter games. I never got into CSGO. I played CSGO maybe once or twice with my friends. I never got into ranked games because I was very bad, and for the biggest time in my life, I was convinced that I am bad. I'm still bad, just bad at aiming as is. Um, that didn't stop me from getting stuff like Apex Legends that I played to, I think, the 5th or 6th season. I remember having a big Overwatch phase, an incredibly big Overwatch phase, where I just used to play Overwatch over and over and over and over and over because the character that I was maining at that time, Junkrat, still to this day one of my favorite characters to play, didn't really require to aim, and that gave me a big interest in playing these kinds of games. Battle Royale, something like PUBG, I like because even though you have to aim, you can take your time with it. You don't need to be all over the place. And this is the reason why I never got into something like Splatoon, because all of those obnoxious games where you have to mass focus and aim everywhere, essentially, I can't play. A little thing about Splatoon or Nintendo in general, I never played something like Smash in my childhood. I never had Smash. I never had Legend of Zelda. I never had that. I never bought like I remember my dad buying me a Nintendo DSi XL, if you remember those. And the only game that I played on it was Pokemon Black. And that's it. I never played any other Pokemon game up until a couple of years ago, where I bought myself a Switch. And so right now I have a fairly big catalog of Nintendo stuff that I've played, but not the OG, so I never got into it. I wish I could have gotten the a PS1 or a PS2 or a PS3 where I could have played something like God of War, right? But I never had that. So my game interests were already very, very precise. So something like Minecraft, a lot, because I used to watch a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, right? Something like Overwatch, something like PUBG, or for example, Battlefield. Battlefield was a big, big, big part of my gaming life, I would say. And over the years, I have started to hate on FPS shooters. I've started to dislike them more and more and more, because it's just not fun. For me, at least, it's not fun doing the same thing over and over. First of all, and second of all, why even try when I'm bad at aiming anyways? And I don't really see a reason for putting in time and effort to get better in a game where I get nothing from it, right? So right now, as of now, I have massively shifted into story games. I have set myself a goal to play the basics, go back to the roots, something like Half-Life, right? Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2. I've got myself the entire trilogy slash quadrilogy of Uncharted, for example. I got myself a PS4 regarding like something like God of War, to play Marvel Spider-Man, to play Horizon Zero Dawn. All of these games involve shooting, involve fighting, but in a very background kind of space, right? And right nowadays, I enjoy story games a lot. I got myself Ori and the Blind Forest and the second one, and I really want to play that. And I've just shifted to this kind of like single player type of game slash multiplayer, but co-op, where I can just chill out and I can just get away from everything and everyone and just enjoy a nice story. Maybe it's because the economy and the the market for shooting games have become so redundant and so repetitive that I just cannot, for the love of God, play anymore. I play, well, I mean, from time to time, obviously, something like Battlefield, but Arma is, for me, I would actually make a separate episode about Arma 3. I don't know why, but this game I enjoy a lot, and I can't express it in 15 minutes or in just a matter of 15 minutes. So yeah, um, for now it's Arma, a lot of Arma and a lot of story games. So yeah. Oh my God, we are already out of time. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, again, thank you for watching. That was very fast. I'm sorry, Terminite. But I'll probably make another episode on just Arma 3 because that's a game that I want to spend time with to talk about. But to answer your question blatantly right now, a lot of story games and a lot of games that make me feel. A lot of single player games and RPGs, stuff like The Witcher, stuff like Skyrim and stuff like that. It's generally very hard to put something that you're interested in into 15 minutes. So excuse me, and I apologize. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. But yes, thank you for listening to Recent Thoughts. Give me your opinions on gaming. I'm incredibly excited for your comments. Right, and as always, I'll see you in another session. Goodbye.